We are now in the middle of your second arc on Batman.
Yes.
Called Abomination. We are meeting a bunch of the major Batman villains here for the first time. We've got Bane, Absolute Bane, the titular Abomination. But can you talk about the way you and Nick approach reinventing these characters that you've worked on before and that you are giving a whole new look?
Yeah, well, the first time I worked on Batman, and to be clear, I think I don't remember if I really got to be able to talk about this openly last time I was here because it was still so early. But Batman is the last character I ever thought I'd write again. When we pitched the Absolute Universe, I really was sure I would do a different character or no character at all. Because I didn't have a way in, but I had this pitch in my head that was like, what if Batman, if you inverted the mythology where Bruce, instead of being the system and order and all of that, was chaos? What if he was the disruption and Joker was the system in this? And what I realized was that this time around, the first time I really wrote Batman as sort of a proxy for me, facing all of my own fears, right? But now, being older and having kids that are teenagers and going out into the world, I'm writing it about my fears for them. I'm Alfred in the series, right? I'm sort of watching and I'm inspired by young people like you guys out there who refuse to accept the world such as we're handing it to them, right? Even when it looks hopeless and it looks entrenched in all kinds of like corruption and anger and you know, absolute sort of like just shittiness, like all around. You know, it feels as though like my kids and what I see over and over with young people is that they just refuse to accept it and say, we're going to change it. We're going to be better. We're going to make it better. And we won't take it the way it is. And so that's this Bruce. And seeing it through that lens made every single character new. And everyone is kind of built through that idea that they are somehow, instead of being a product of Batman being the system, they are a product of the Joker being the system in this way, in different ways. So they've been so much fun. Bane is, I've never had as much fun writing villains as this. Like he's such a blast. The next issue 11, coming out next month, tells his origin. It gives you a lot more about the Joker as well, little hints of Deathstroke, other things. Yeah, I know. Well, Deathstroke, we tried, he was in, I'm gonna start spoiling everything. He's in issue 9, really briefly, but he's Alfred's like best friend from training. Alfred actually mentored him and then they went their separate ways. And so now he's coming in the series in a really dark way. Can't wait.
I would also love for you to talk about one of my favorite redesigns you guys have done, which is Killer Croc, and the new relationship that Batman has with Waid. Because we have it, yeah.
That was my favorite. When Nick sent that, Nick made an extra page to do that in the book. I was just like, it was the best. I love it. So it's so crazy. It's just so comics, you know, I love it. So my favorite part of writing the book is his relationship with his friends. That was one of the core things, was if he grows up working class and he grows up in a neighborhood like, you know, I grew up in New York City, and it's a big part. Like, you grow up in a neighborhood with kids that go different ways, but you're bonded. And so it felt like he would know all these people. And so Waylon is his best friend, and turning him into Killer Croc was one of the most, like, it was the hardest thing I've done in a long time in comics. But one of the fun things is the way that these characters aren't necessarily going to be traditional villains. Wait till you see. I have a vision of a new Bat family kind of idea, too. So I really can't wait for you guys to see. They're all coming, though. You'll see at the end of 11, a lot more stuff happens with the friends and that. So the very next month, you'll see it start to snowball in new ways, because Bane is out to show him, essentially, that unless you embody war the way Bane does, unless you take it in and say, I accept that I can never keep my loved ones safe, like the people on Santa Prisca for him, unless I become the thing that I don't want to be, they'll always get hurt. And so he's here to teach Bruce this terrible lesson. And it gets pretty dark. But it gets also really bright, because other characters come in.
And maybe the character probably closest to Bruce's heart, who we have spent very little time with, and who's coming in a big way, is Absolute Catwoman.
Yeah.
They just revealed the design for it. Tell us about Selina in this world and what their relationship is.
Yeah, also I love, the design is so fun. The cover doesn't even really do it justice. I mean, I love it, but oh yeah, there it is, right? So the cover is awesome, but to see it in all its glory and all the things it can do, the tail actually plugs into the gun and shoots. There's so many cool things that Nick designed with it. But the idea is that Selena and Bruce have a really deep love for each other through childhood. They're childhood sweethearts in our world. I'm spoiling everything. And then she really believes, she grows up in foster homes and she has a group of friends with them. But she also starts to really get into robbing all these kind of apartments that nobody uses, like in New York, right? There are all these apartments that are owned by companies and billionaires that never use them. And so she starts to become a thief. And she starts to decide, like, you know, the one place she feels really safe in Gotham is up on the roofs with the cats, away from a lot of abusive situations. And so she feels if she can get enough money and get high enough up in the world, she can escape all of that. And she does. She leaves Gotham. She's very, very wealthy. Again, I'm for November, October. So she's here already. But she's one of my favorite characters to write because, you know, she and Bruce have a very different relationship than they have in the main universe, where they meet as adults, where they're already sort of nemesis. Here, if you know anyone that you grew up with, right, even if you go separate ways, especially if you have a romantic relationship with someone when you're young, right, they see you at your rawest. They see you when you're this vulnerable bundle of like nerves and hopes and fears. And it creates this different level of depth that is just brand new for me. Every character is brand new now. They're totally unlike anything I wrote before, but Selena and his relationship is really, really special. I've never gotten to write it in general, but I've never really written it. I've never had an opportunity to write it with this much depth, because they go all the way back to childhood. And you know, they care about each other in a really special way. So I can't wait for you to see, because she comes into the book in a huge way, and she helps him with she gets in it with the friends, and Red Hood and all kinds of stuff are coming up in the next issues. So can't wait for you to see.
You didn't hear that.
Yeah, we got Red Hood, Scarecrow's coming soon. Yeah, there's a bunch. We're bringing everybody. Scarecrow's really scary. Like a whole different take. I can't wait. It's really, really fun. So, yeah.
This whole run, and increasingly this whole panel, is built out of, can we do that? Moments. I'm normally the person who's going to going, can we do that? This is by far my favorite. That man yeeting a little kid off a boat. He 100% deserved it. We all agree. I'm curious if you have a favorite that you got away with.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love this. This one, like, it was funny because I said it to Nick, like, he punts the kid, and Nick was like, that's too much, and I'm like, well, have him put a life preserver on him first. Okay, fine. And then Nick, it was only supposed to be a small panel, and then Nick sent it in, and I was like, whoa, he did like a whole thing of it. Like, he really made it a meal, and it was awesome. And I was like, he was like, I don't know, I think it's too much, and I was like, this is my favorite. This is my, if I get one page from the whole run, I want it to be this page where he like punts, because it's so what the book is meant. I mean, but my favorite is probably in issue 10 that just came out, where Bruce, to escape Arkham, he takes out his own. He's locked up in Arkham, which is a vast sort of alien place, not alien like UFOs, but a vast, like, unknowable complex beneath Gotham, where they're experimenting. Dr. Arkham is experimenting with all kinds of stuff, like Hugo Strange and Clayface strains and Pamela Isley research, and you'll see all kinds of stuff. But he's locked up there and he doesn't know how to get out, and so they think that he's beaten because he's just down. They have to give him a feeding tube in his stomach, and he won't eat, and they just like, finally he's broken. And when they come in, they don't realize he's pulled out his own teeth and put them in his fist to like punch them with. And he uses the tube that he wanted in his stomach to spray them with his own stomach acid in his face. And then he secretly collected all this bat guano, because there's bats there, and put it in the toilet. And then I really read about this. Like, if you use urine and bat guano and you dry it out, you can make a flammable substance like gunpowder, which they did, so he makes bombs out of that.
If my FBI handler is in the audience, I did not know this was going to happen.
And so there's a panel where he's running, and he goes naked. He beats everybody up and then runs naked out of the cell. And he's running through Arkham, and he drops a bomb, and Nick wrote, plop, on the thing. And it was originally poop, and then they were like, no. And so that panel, too, that was my favorite. Can we do that moment? But we have really big ones coming up. I mean, the December issue is our Joker issue. We're doing Joker for real. with Jock, and I can't wait for you to see that. That has some moments that really push the envelope a lot.
So yeah, much to come in Absolute Batman. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, switch gears to Absolute Wonder Woman, Hayden Sherman. We are also in the middle of our second arc, and something that you are starting to see about this character is everywhere she goes, she draws people to her. Why is that, and how is that playing out in this story right now?
Well, I think part of what we wanted to set up in the first arc was that she's always looking to create a sisterhood, that she was coming from not knowing that the Amazons existed at some point, but that she was stripped away from them. And unlike a lot of the other characters we've seen within the Absolute Universe, she has a very innate desire to create friendships and connections and build communities and work as part of a team, even if she is really heading up all of the legwork there. She wants people. So in the second arc, we have already introduced Ferdinand, our Minotaur that's trapped in the maze, and we'll see how he continues to tie into things going forward. But yeah, we will be introducing a lot in the coming issues. I'm a little more scared to tease too much, but a lot of absolute renditions of Wonder Woman lore that will make not just the Absolute Universe, but Wonder Woman specifically, will make her world even more large than it already is. And I'm really excited for that. Yeah.
I mean, this whole run, Scott's is built on the can we do that? This whole run is built on the moments that like really twist your heart. Like, is there a point in this run where you're like, there it is, that's the character, it's all happening in one place?
And Kelly is really good at twisting your heart. So issue 3 in particular stands out for me, drawing that, having to draw within the span of it. We have Wonder Woman, spoilers, we have Wonder Woman cutting off her own arm to save the life of Steve, a person that she is only known for, there we go. A person that she has only known for a few days, maybe a week or more at this point. She has known him just long enough to know that this is a good man. This is a man that could do some sort of good in the world, small or large. He's worth saving. He's worth taking from hell and bringing back to the living realm. And she doesn't blink, she doesn't ask permission, she doesn't ask her mom, the more seasoned witch of the family. She doesn't ask anybody. She just, Cersei wakes up and she has already cut her arm off. The deed is done. She's gonna do the spell, send him home. And within that same issue, just, I don't know, barely 10 pages later, she is making an impassioned plea to the people of Gateway City to save them from the Tetracide. It's going to make a sound that's going to kill millions of people, and the only way that she can figure out to save them is to make them all deaf. And she doesn't have enough time to explain because otherwise they're all going to die. So she commandeers the news feed and tells them all that she trusts them, that they need to look out for each other, that she believes in them very pointedly. She makes an impassioned plea to them. And the range of passion that exists in that character, the affectionate hero that will do anything to save one life, even if it costs her significant bodily harm. She didn't know she could get her arm back by way of magic when she did that. She did it because it was the right thing to do. And at the same time, believes that other people have the potential to do the same is very meaningful to me.
So, we've said that she draws people to her, naturally. And the number one question we get asked about the Absolute Universe is, when are these characters going to meet each other? Do we have any news to break on that front?
Oh, I'm so happy you asked. Because, let's see here, in Absolute Wonder Woman issue 15, I'm very happy to say that Absolute Wonder Woman will for the first time be meeting Absolute Batman. And that's coming out now, if I've got it right. Is that December 24th?
December 24th.
So it's a little holiday gift, too. I'm very much looking forward to it. It is already a blast. And, yeah.
Scott, yeah, would you like to spoil the entire thing for us, Scott?
She just punts him off a boat. No, it's going to be awesome. Kelly and I are friends a very long time. 10 years plus, and there's no bigger fan of Absolute Wonder Woman than me. I feel like what you guys have been able to do on that book is just the gold standard in comics and inspires me and Nick every month. And we've been talking about it for a long time, so we've got something really special cooked up for you where Wonder Woman has a really good reason for coming to Gotham, looking for Batman, and it starts like a chain of events that essentially brings a lot of the Absolute Universe together.
Yeah.
And speaking of knitting the entire Absolute universe together, we have a one-shot coming in October at the anniversary of our launch, the Absolute Evil #1 one-shot. And we have Pornsak Bashesho here to talk to you about it. So Pornsak, as I mentioned, you are a new face to the Absolute universe. Can you sort of talk about your history with DC, your specialty in comics?
Yeah, so like DC's kind of like my family. I started working at DC in 2003. I was an assistant editor and then became an editor over at Vertigo, which does, if for all of you who remember, does their sort of mature readers, darker sort of stuff, and that's where I met Scott and worked with Jeff Lemire and met Jason Aaron and all that. And I would go on to sort of work on the media TV side of DC, where I got to know all their characters really, really well. And then I started writing my own comics. I did a horror book called Infidel. Thank you. And I did a book called The Good Asian, a crime noir called The Good Asian. I did that won the Eisner and won the Harvey, I joked to my neighbors that they should stop making me paranoid because they literally spend all day thinking of new ways horrible things can happen to people, and it's not the best way to live. And so, but that is what I do. I work in horror and crime and think of new ways that horrible things can happen to people.
So Al Ewing is the writer of the Absolute Evil one-shot, but he could not be with us today. Pornsak knows what's going on in the book. Kind of walk us through the villains of the Absolute universe, which are the focus, what they're up to.
Yeah, I was telling Chris, I'm not usually nervous on panels, but Al's script is so good, I don't want to spoil it, but I also don't want to underhype it because it is so good. But basically, you've seen all of these very powerful, very rich sort of people on the sidelines of the Absolute universe, whether it's Joker or Ra's al Ghul or Veronica Cale or Hector Hammond or Eleanor Thawne, and some have had a little time in the spotlight, some have been completely in the shadows, but now for the first time they're all kind of meeting because they all have a mutual problem, which is all these heroes, these metahumans, or whatever we call them in the Absolute universe, who are not only fighting back, but they're inspiring people to sort of fight back and to do things against sort of the status quo. And they're the richest people in the world. They represent technology and government, and they're going to pool all their resources together to do something about them.
So speaking of the characters inspiring people, they're going to actually inspire one specific person who appears for the first time in the Absolute Evil one-shot. Could you tell us who that is?
Yeah, it is a guy with a blonde goatee. And this is actually the first time I've seen these pages, so that's really cool. But it inspires the Absolute Oliver Queen. And Absolute Oliver, and he is, he is a billionaire, and he kind of looks, probably of all the characters, the most similar to what he looks like in the DCU. But and he's a guy he feels he's kind of let a blind eye happen to all these other billionaires doing all these corrupt things, and he's finally going to do something to stand up to them. And he figures he might be the only person, because he's the only person with the resources and the riches and the fortune to kind of do something about that. And he will learn very, very quickly that things are not what they seem.
You seem to know a lot about this character, and why is that?
I will be writing a 6-issue mini, Absolute Green Arrow, and there's a lot to talk about it, but the thing that gets me most is, I've been friends with Raphael Albuquerque for 15 years, and this is our first chance working together. We were texting this morning, and we're both giddy. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have been friends with Raphael Albuquerque for over 15 years, and this is our first time working together. We were texting this morning. We are giddy about the chance to be working together. We're gonna have so much fun. He is going to crush it.
So, all right, that's all we got for you guys on the Absolutes, but we hope you were very excited about that. Before I hand the panel over, I do want to shout out, at the DC shop right now, we have these incredible matching covers by Jay Lee for printings of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman #1. They're so gorgeous. They're in foil. They are lovely. You cannot have my copies. We also have the very first place you can buy the collected editions. These are before Street Date. These are Jim Lee exclusive covers you can only get for these books at the booth today and through the weekend. So get over there fast. And I also just want to shout out to everybody. Here's the release dates for the rest of the program. We've got the second wave of books coming this fall. I just want to shout out that on this team right now, Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman up for a ton of Eisners this weekend on Friday. Feel free to swing by. Congratulations to everybody who's nominated. But that's what we've got for you, and I'm going to turn it over to the big second act of the show. Scott, you lucky duck, you get to stay on the panel. And Hayden and Pornsak and I will slip backstage. But please welcome my colleague, a wild man, DC Group Editor, Paul Kaminski.
Man. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second half, the DC Universe core line side. Scott Snyder is staying with us because today we're going to be talking about the big event coming up on the DC core line side, DCKO! It's a big tournament. It's going to be bonkers. And to join me today alongside Scott, I have one of the co-architects, Joshua Williamson. I have the legend, the myth, the man, Mr. Mark Waid. I have the incredible writer of some of my favorite books and comics, Chris Cantwell. And my sweet Pookie Bear, Jeremy Adams. Come on, Jeremy. Clark, let's roll that brawl footage, huh?
DCKO is our knockdown, drag-out, battle royale, tournament arc, Squid Games meets Mortal Kombat, but fun.
Very fun.
Competition between all of our greatest heroes. So we can't wait for you to see it. We want it to be, honestly, a thank you to you, a thank you to retailers. It goes back to that age-old question as kids you have, who will win when you mash the toys together? But it's also a really heartfelt story about what we think the DCU and Superman in particular stands for right now at this moment. So we can't wait for you guys to see it. That's sort of the top line pitch. But the story itself, this event is really kind of the second beat of our big Darkseid saga that we started with All In, right? So if you haven't read All In, or even if you have, just as a reminder, a recap page, in that event, Darkseid realizes that he's always been meant to be something much bigger than he is in the main universe. And he realizes the way to do that is to die and to begin a new universe at this particular moment, the Absolute Universe. And so he does that in the All In special, which we had come out last fall. And since then, in the Absolute Universe, he's been accumulating power and becoming something that he's never been before, something far bigger, the only celestial being in the entire Absolute Universe. He's collected all of its Omega energy, and he is now something called the King Omega. That's why it's called KO. All right, so he has become this kind of Darkseid Prime. And when our story starts in DCKO, he is about to come over here and claim this universe as well, which is his big plan, right? Yeah. So, how we get to the tournament is, what the heroes realize is that the only way to stop Darkseid is to sort of become like him, to beat him at his own game. And it begins with these time-traveling characters, like Time Trapper, coming back and saying, we have explored every single way that you might be able to fight Darkseid. You cannot. He's eaten the entire future. He's claimed the future, and he's coming back to the present. And he exists outside of space and time, and he is like a villain you have never, ever gone up against before. There's no beating him. No beating him whatsoever.
You're gonna lose. There's no way you're gonna beat him this time.
Unless you try to beat him at his own game. And in the Absolute Universe, the way that Darkseid became what he is when he began that universe is he took a piece of his heart of Apocalypse, he put it in Earth, And then he killed every other celestial being, every primordial being. So there's nothing but dark side. Every atom in that universe is infused with Omega energy, with his sort of essence, right? So the heroes realize there's already a heart of apocalypse forming at the center of our Earth because Darkseid is making his way back from the future, from Legion to now. If they get it and co-opt it, maybe they can use it to fuel one of them to become as big a celestial warrior as Darkseid and defeat him on his own terms. But the heart of apocalypse really only responds to one thing, right, which is conquest. And so to get to it, what they have to do, it's going to put up its defenses as they try and get to it. It's at the core of the Earth. And essentially, the only way to get it is to compete with each other without any mercy whatsoever.
You can't cheat this one.
Yeah, so it becomes, it really is like, I've never had as much fun writing something as I am with this guy writing this with Javi. It really is almost like the only way the heroes can win is to compete with each other without any
They have to really
compassion.
fight each other. When we pitched this a while back, one of the things we said during our pitch was, one of the things we said during the pitch when we were pitching this to DC initially, we were trying to tell them how crazy this was going to be, but one of the things that we said was like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. And that was with this. We really wanted the heroes to go for it because the heart of Apocalypse is basically saying to them, like, if you're going to be able to be worthy enough, you have to really be like Darkseid. And that's a really big challenge for these characters to say, can they do that? Can they be like Darkseid? And that's part of the challenge. And the heart of Apocalypse does not want to be held by anybody else. So it puts up its defenses, and that defenses is the tournament.
Yeah, and so the tournament has 5 levels, 5 issues.
Oh man, Scott's gonna start spoiling stuff.
I know, again.
I didn't know we were gonna talk about that, but I guess we're going to.
And
It's very fun.
Yes. Yeah. Well, what can I spoil? What should I say?
Well, why don't we show some art from DCK?
Yeah, Javi is doing an amazing job.
We do that? Yeah, because we have Javi Fernandez who's drawing this series. Javi's an amazing artist, and Javi's bringing this world to life. We're about to debut here the full cover for DCKO #1. That is what it looks like under all those big, blocky, tasty letters.
So when they enter the tournament, they're allowed to bring one item, and Superman brings these brass knuckles that have miniature suns inside of them to power him. So that's what those are.
Yeah.
He's about to punch you in the face with like his sun knuckles.
Yeah, you ever get punched in the face with the sun? It hurts, like a lot.
And right now they're handing out ash cans of the books. You guys have ash cans right now that has Javi's art in it. And Javi, we've been a big fan of Javi's for a long time. And so with this, we knew he was going to be great on. He's done a lot of great DC projects. We're really a big fan of his. And yeah, the stuff he's doing with this is really awesome. Like this opening scene right here is about Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. They're actually having a game night. They're having a game night, just the three of them.
They're taking one night off. Of course, it gets spoiled by Darkseid.
And then Darkseid shows up, which I think we have on the next slide. We can see some of awesome Javi art. Yeah. Right? It's awesome. Yeah.
That looks like an insurance hazard, right?
Yeah, look at that.
But then this is a Darkseid they've never gone up against, which is part of why Time Traveler keeps telling them, like, there's no way you're going to win this way. There's no way you're going to beat him, but that's when they start figuring out there might be a way.
And what you realize is he's not only a single thing anymore, he's become something bigger than himself. He's attacking all places at once, magic, space. There you go. This spread is like one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
If you look at the different panels, one is Metropolis, one is the Rock of Eternity, one is Oa. It's basically like he is everywhere at once, to just claiming everything for himself. And that's why he has that little crown, that little Omega symbol over him.
Yeah, because he is the King Omega.
He's the King Omega.
So in order to combat the ultimate return of Darkseid here, this absolute return of Darkseid, what the heroes are going to have to do is they're going to have to look within themselves and think, do I have that level of no mercy in me too? And it's going to be something that really challenges the heroes in that moment. But what they realize is they have to try. Like, this is the only way. And it's the only alternative to Darkseid simply coming back and doing this to the planet. So what we're doing is we're having this tournament. We have a big tournament we're cooking up. And one of the big fun features of this tournament is going to be doing what we all do at the comic shop. Who would win in a fight between so-and-so and so-and-so? I am fairly confident at least most of this room has done it. By show of hands, who would win so-and-so and so-and-so? So we're doing that as part of the story, and we're doing it through this thing we're calling the DCKO bracket, and we're going to be debuting that here.
Yay!
First time.
So do you guys want to see some of the people that are going to be in the tournament? Yeah?
Hey,
All right.
wait. we shouldn't put names up on that screen.
No, that might not be a
don't
good
take
idea.
pictures if we do that because that would.
No, listen. If we show you, you can't tell anybody,
Yeah,
right?
this is very confidential.
That's the rule. It does not leave this room.
You're all in yonder pouches, right? You all got yonder pouches.
Okay.
So we should probably. Well, why don't we talk about how we assembled the bracket while maybe things change on the screen?
Yeah, maybe something happens. I mean,
Yeah.
like Scott and I are friends, and we've, like everyone else here, like you go and you talk about these characters, and oh no, is there somebody possibly being revealed up there? I told you one person was gonna be excited. Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
He was like, he has such faith in Captain Adam.
Yeah. Yeah, Guy Gardner, right? Yes.
Wait, Green Lanterns are going to be in this thing? Jeremy.
Oh, all your favorites are in it. It's so I just can't like
We
this.
put a lot of thought into these fights. Oh yeah, Supergirl's in it.
We put a
Couldn't
lot.
do it without Kara.
He's looking for her dog.
Yeah.
Of course, right?
And then of course you can't do it without Wonder Woman.
We might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Main man.
Main man. That's right. Yeah, Swamp Thing. We wanted to surprise you with some people too. Like we wanted to make sure that it was definitely a group that you wouldn't necessarily expect. A Cyborg, yeah, of course.
So we're
Oh yeah, then yeah. Of course Jason's gonna be in there.
Jason goes crazy in it. Wait till you see. He's one of my favorite
Yeah.
entries. So yeah. So
Yeah.
Mistress of Magic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They-
this is a varied list of characters across the entirety of the DC universe, and that varied list of characters has so far been showing up in Justice League Unlimited, written by Mr. Mark Waid. And all this DC All In, all of this started when Absolute Power just blew down the door and the heroes had to go against Waller, and that led to the All In saga as it begins today. Josh, can you, Mark, sorry, can you talk to us a little bit about the evolution of Absolute Power through All In and Justice League Unlimited? We are yesterday.
Sure, Absolute Power proved to the world and proved to the heroes that they really do need to step up. They need to get back together. And when we say unlimited, we mean unlimited. And now that we have thrown open the doors to time and space with We Are Yesterday, then anyone is game. Last year I asked people who should be on the team, and somebody said Jonah Hex, and I was the only one I said no. And then it just sat with me for a year, and so Jonah Hex is there.
And so the Justice League Unlimited are going to be playing a pivotal role in DC KO.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit, like tease a little bit, not too much.
Not too
like
much, yeah.
The Terrific 10, can you?
Yeah, we have all the cuddly guys left, is who we've got. No, we've got the Terrific 10. Mr. Terrific, maybe you've heard of him. He's been in a movie recently. He has assembled his own team to do something that is key to the KO story that we can't reveal yet. But he has 10 hand-picked soldiers from the DC universe, and only one of them will live, and he's not telling them which one. He knows which one. So they are literally on a suicide mission. They will help save the day against Darkseid, provided Darkseid doesn't win. Fingers crossed.
And these are some of the time displaced characters from We Are Yesterday.
Yes.
That led to all this.
Yeah. Batman Beyond, we got.
Yes.
Electric Blue Superman.
We can talk about it. In fact, we have a cover I think we can show in here somewhere. I believe. Would it give too much away?
No, give it away. Give it away.
Josh doesn't want you to see it. He wants you to hide it.
Well, that's
That one.
Yeah, that one. That's for
Not
something
that
else.
one. That's something else. Something else.
Poor Booster.
Anyway, I never thought I would live long enough to hear Electric Blue Superman get cheers from an audience, but I did. So that's who you got.
Yeah,
you got others coming up.
So Justice League Unlimited is going to be playing a big role in this, and a lot of this is queued up by the group we just saw there, which is from the Justice League Special, the Omega Act. That's going to be the lead into DC KO. Josh, do you want to talk a little bit about the Omega
Yeah,
Act?
I'll talk really briefly about it. Look at this art by Yasmin. This is amazing. I see the Omega Act as sort of a sequel to All In #1. It's going to kind of recap you. If you haven't been reading what's going on in DC, it will kind of recap what has been happening in the DCU since All In, and it will also essentially act as a prelude, a lead-in to what is going on with KO. It's all told through Time Trapper's perspective. This is when he's explaining that the future has basically been destroyed by Darkseid, and that Darkseid is coming back. Time Trapper, Booster, and Flash. I'm just gonna spoil stuff. Fine. All right, so Time Trapper, Booster, and Wally, they actually go on this journey to see what is happening with the future, and they see how bad it is, and they have a run-in with Darkseid's Legion, and it's essentially them just debating should they tell the Justice League what they saw in the future. That's a big part of it. And then it also gets into some secret history stuff about Doomsday's past. Because Time Trapper in the story is Doomsday. I was always obsessed with the idea that every time Doomsday died, he came back different. You could never kill him the same way twice. And to me, eventually that meant we would get smart Doomsday at some point. And so that's what this is. A Time Trapper is this, as Scott likes to call him, Old Man Doomsday. So that's what the story's about. It's all through Time Trapper. This is awesome. Look at this. Yeah.
Yasmin Putri.
Yeah, it's amazing because this goes back to when Darkseid died during the On Special, and it shows how his death caused all of these things to happen in the DCU.
And the Time Trapper Doomsday, Doomsday that has achieved enlightenment, funnily enough, comes from the pages of Superman, which will also be playing a pivotal role in the DCKO story. Josh, this, I mean, in a lot of ways, the All-In Saga has really followed Superman from story to story. Talk to us a little bit about how he's going to be grappling with the very notion of this conflict.
Well, I think with Superman, when he was, there's also my baby boy, Superboy Prime. Superman has always, because of his encounters with the Legion when he was young, there was a part of Superman that always had hope for the future. He knew the future was going to be okay. He knew there was a part of him that was always, it fueled some of his hope because he knew the Legion was always there. And then during this story, because of what Darkseid has done, he is witnessing that future has been destroyed, and he's witnessing that now this Legion that used to be inspired by him is now being inspired by Darkseid, and that kind of breaks his hope for the future. And that's part of where he is going into this event with, is that he is actually, for the first time, really concerned about the future in the way he hasn't been in the past. And that definitely affects a lot of his mental state going into it. Superboy Prime here, if you're a fan of Superboy Prime like me, you know that he had a redemption arc a few years ago. And so with this story, he very much is like, but I had a redemption arc. I'm one of the good guys now. And Time Trapper helps enlist him because he thinks that he can help Superman on this journey.
Do we have any Legion of Superheroes fans?
Yeah. Me too, yay! Raise your hand.
Oh, of course, yeah. Both hands.
So the Legion of Superheroes we've seen in the All-In Saga, the Darkseid Legion has been playing a pivotal role. They are Darkseid's basically personal army.
This is that last two-page spread is a bit of a spoiler because if you know, Superboy Prime is essentially from our world, so he loves comic books. He's a big fan of the Absolute Universe. So Prime, when Prime and Superman are heading to the future, Prime is like, he's so confident. He's like, I know what's going to happen. We're going to go to the future. We're going to fight Darkseid, and then all the legions from all the different timelines are going to show up, and they're going to help us, and it's going to be this big two-page spread, and it's going to be awesome. And then he goes and he finds this two-page spread with the majority of the Legion have already died. They've already been taken out by Darkseid and by the Darkseid's Legion. So for both of them, it's this moment of like what they thought was going to be the future has basically been broken.
Yeah, and Josh wrote this beautiful scene in Superman where Superman is talking to Ma, and he's saying like, hey, when I was a kid, I saw a glimpse of the future, and it made me feel good. It made me feel like the future would be nice, a nice place. And now I look at the future, and I don't know what it is anymore. And a lot of this story is going to be grappling with that idea. Hey, we're grappling with a future that might not be what we thought it was going to be. How is that going to play out on the page? How's that going to affect Superman? It's the emotional heart of the story, really.
Yeah.
And so Superman is going to be appearing also in the pages of Justice League Unlimited in the lead up to DCKO, written by the aforementioned Mr. Mark Waid. But Mark Waid is going to be returning to another character that he is very well known for, The Flash. Alongside the wonderful Mr. Chris Cantwell. So Mark Waid and Chris Cantwell are writing The Flash during DCKO. And it's in a story that we're calling. Chris, do you want to?
It's called Impulse Control.
Yeah.
Yes. Mark, if you want to kick anything off.
No. I was going to say that I'm so excited to be back to Wally. As you know, I'm writing 43 books a month. So all I had was Tuesday afternoons free. So I wanted to team up with who I think is one of the best newer writers in comics.
I'll take young.
You ever read Challengers of the Unknown? That was one of the best books we published last year. And I'm happy to work with Chris anytime, anywhere, and I'm glad he was able to come on board with me. So together, we cooked up some really cool Flash and Impulse stuff.
Yes, we did, and I'm really excited. I think these guys reached out to me and they said, would you like to do this with Mark? And I was like, would I? Right? Like I feel like my cowlick came back from when I was in grade school. Yes, I mean, this is really exciting. And so I got briefed on all of the KO of it all and how exciting that is. And it's fun to craft a story with Mark where we can take Wally West, who's coming off of Cy Spurrier's wonderful run.
Really good run.
A really great cosmic horror story and everything that he and Mike Diodato and all those wonderful artists did on that book. And we have a Wally who, and I've been rereading Mark's monumental work on both Wally and Bart. And, that's Wally West as the Flash started as someone who was always worried that he wasn't fast enough, or at least that's where he began. And I think off of Cy's run in that story, he's freaked out, right? I think he's been through a lot. He's seen what war looks like firsthand. He's going through that right now. And so he's hearing this plan for KO, and he's hearing all of his buds plan a blood sport, and he's like, really? And I think he's a little freaked. And so, and if there's one person who thinks they can look at the Justice League Unlimited and even hear Wally talk about the experiences he's seen in the future through Omega Act, and think, maybe I can do something different and better, and I'm going to do it right now, it's Bart Allen, right?
Yeah.
So Impulse is going to come into this thing in a big way.
Yeah, when Impulse says, maybe I can change the past, and Wally's like, Flashpoint, but it's too late. He's gone. And so now we are bouncing through the past to try to fix the future and put things right. What once went wrong, is that the phrase? Yes.
Yes, and so Bart is a big part of this, and I think it's very much a two-hander, right? Where I think you've got a Wally West who is shaken by what he's seen in the Omega Act, and then there goes Bart. And Bart he's trying to prove himself to Wally once and for all and say, I can do this, take me seriously. And in going through Mark's Impulse run, that solo book, which is one of my favorites, reading that, this is a kid who, you think he's not paying attention, but he hears everything in the room. I still think of that first scene in the classroom where the teacher catches him for not paying attention. He's able to repeat back the teacher's words, what that kid did, how this kid coughed, the data she's looking for, everything. And, in reading that character, it reminded me of my oldest son, who's actually sitting right over there, so I'm going to embarrass him. And so I fell in love with Bart immediately all over again. And this is really a story about Wally and Bart trying to repair their relationship, cement their relationship, and then also take on Darkseid by themselves, because the tournament is a frightening thing. It's to the death, there's no mercy, to quote Josh. So that's where we're at.
Now, there's another key contender in this tournament that's been building since the start of his new solo series that debuted last year. Mr. Jeremy Adams is going to be fighting in the tournament, and he is going to be going up against Lobo, and he's going to be... No, that's not it. It's Aquaman. It's Aquaman. See, here's some Aquaman love, everybody. Jeremy, talk to me about the Dark Tide. Talk to me about the path to KO.
So Aquaman in the book, Atlantis has disappeared, and he's been on this journey through this thing called the blue, this primordial force that's like the red and the green, and I know we only have a few minutes, I see this sign. And so he's become the avatar of this thing called the blue. But what's interesting about what's happened with Darkseid and kind of the infection of Omega energy, it's like what happens when a godlike force becomes a little more infected. So we're seeing an Aquaman that's getting a lot more violent and powerful, and so by the time this tournament starts, he's really powerful. Like, he's ridiculous. He still has Mira's powers, but they've been compounded. He has a really strange group of people, which is like Captain Nemo and Zan, and a hammerhead shark guy named Titanus.
Yeah!
We've got Lori Lemire, who's a mercenary mermaid, as we have her, and so he's fighting this creature called Dagon, you can see here. But as he returns to Earth after this, you're going to see a different Aquaman that's incredibly, incredibly powerful.
One that might be competing, possibly, I don't know. There he is. Is he on there? Oh, yeah, there he is. There he is. Yeah, okay. So Aquaman will be in DCKO, major bracket player in the tournament. And we have another reveal here, not beyond Aquaman. We have...
Giving it away.
What's Batman doing in this tournament, Joshua Williamson?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to do a story about people fighting in the DCU, there was no way we could do it without Batman.
That's right.
Yeah, so with this, we wanted to make sure we show Batman's point of view. As much as KO is a Superman story, we wanted to show Batman's point of view on this fight and what he's going through. I don't want to get too much into spoilers. Scott will spoil everything. But that's what it's going to be about. It's about Batman's journey.
I'll totally spoil it. Wait,
He's
so
going
it's
to do it.
actually about...
Yes.
Well, the thing is, like, this whole tournament is supposed to, like, pit you against your worst
Oh, but look at
fears,
this Dan
right?
Mora art.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Dan and me doing this together is going to be really, really fun. It comes out in November. I'm really excited about it. Go.
It's like every level that you get closer to the heart, it makes you fight each other in darker and darker ways. And if you give in, you show compassion, the Omega levels go down. And you need the highest Omega level possible to be able to defeat Darkseid. And so one of Batman's biggest fears, I think, ultimately, is that, you know, maybe one of his one of his greatest hopes and fears, I think, is what will happen to his children, right? All of his Robins. And so and everyone always asks, like, who's the best one? Who's this? So we figured, what's a tournament if we don't have Batman go up against his Robins? But with a twist in this one, we wanted to do Batman actually versus the versions of those Robins if they were to become Batman. So it's Batman versus the Batman versions of all of the former Robins. So in this, it's like...
So it's Batman Jason Todd, Batman Damian, Batman Dick, Batman Tim. And there's some other surprises.
And it's he's fighting them in, like, their Gotham.
In their Gotham. It's a Gotham in which they're the Batman. He gets to witness what these futures are like when he's not there and they're the Batman.
It's so knock down, drag out, awesome. Like I'm like, if you don't want to write it, I'll write it. It's like,
this is the heart of Apocalypse and big part of KO is that they're really challenging these heroes in different ways you might not expect. And for Batman, it takes him on a really hard journey.
Can I say one quick thing about the whole thing?
I wish you would, Scott.
All right. And I know we're all here pitching all these things, like these parts, right? Where it's like, DCKO is this knockdown drag-out tournament, and it's going to be 32 champions, and every month you'll see, you know, it'll reduce by half, and it'll get down to the final four, and it's going to be so fun. And over here we have this going on with Justice League tie-in, and over here we have the Absolute Universe. What we really want to stress to you is, I had some retailers come up to me last night and be like, wait, this event isn't ending the Absolute Universe or something, is it? And it was like, not at all. Like, the whole thing for us was that when we started All In, the goal was to make one giant vision for DC that celebrates both the classic and the traditional kind of superhero storytelling in the biggest epic ways and creates a space for brand new stuff. And so what KO is a giant kind of party and celebration of the success of the last year. And on the other side of it, it's going to supercharge our line. We're going to introduce new books. We're going to have, for us, it really is going to be something that just adds and builds on everything we've been doing so far. It's like if you imagine All In was the beginning of the roller coaster, and we just got to the peak, this is where all the fun starts this year.
And all of it, All In and Absolute, all of this is all one big story.
It's one giant saga, and it's only getting started. So that's the fun. This part is like, you're stopping, you're getting a giant Monster energy drink, blasting off into the next part. So we really can't wait for you guys to see it. But it's all a testament to the fact that you guys showed up, sold like the hell out of these books, and just made us want to try more and more crazy stuff and heartfelt stories about these characters that we love to death.
It's a celebration of these characters. It's a celebration of comics. I'd like to take just a moment and celebrate the architects, Joshua Williamson and Scott Snyder.
Better have one for yourself.
I do. It's backstage.
This is not planned. This is like a legit surprise. This is not a gimmick. We literally did not know.
These two guys work so hard to make these comics. In fact, everybody at DC does. Like right up and down the line.
It's not just the two of us, though. Like it is you, it is Chris, it's Marie, it is Ann, it's everyone on this panel. It's everybody. Oh, sorry. It is not just the two of us. DC Comics is never one person. It's never two people. It is all of us together. And so I appreciate this, but yeah, it's all of us.
Thank you all. Thank you. Happy Comic-Con.
And again, best fans in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.